What I'll share with you today are not finite entities, but questions and initiations. These questions have evolved over the years out of my love for craft forms, vernacular traditions, and this whole sense of genius loci, which means the spirit of a place. How can we create a sense of belongingness in a place with people at the core? How can I bring my love for craft forms, vernacular traditions, and the landscape together to evoke a sense of place? How can we focus on a community's assets, potential, aspirations, and inspirations to create good public spaces that promote people's health, happiness, well-being, and make people love their place? The river and this whole idea of a journey are cultural icons that defines the spirit of this place for me. As an artist, I see the river as a fluid space that offers a lot of entry points for exploring multiple realities, identities, complexities, memories, and lives. I explored some of these questions by launching a series of experiments in the public realm called Cultural Reimaginations. The first stage of the project tried to delve deeper into some of these craft forms that I love. I was trying to look at these forms in an inherently new way, as forms reflective of people, values, beliefs, passions, beyond craftsmanship and material. I collaborated with a group of bamboo artisans from the village of Rampur, situated about an hour and a half from Guwahati, to create a series of site-specific installations that pushed the boundaries of bamboo forms and technique. The site-specific installation was a weave structure that evoked local craftsmanship and distorted it at the same time, pushing the boundaries of that craft tradition. Very tensile strips of bamboo were used from the outermost layers of the kam to create this installation. As a painter, I was also interested in painting sensually with bamboo in real time and space, creating a three-dimensional gestural abstraction in air. Publics who engaged with this installation gave it multiple meanings, from recognizable craft forms to very abstract metaphors. During my travels to the interiors of the Northeast, I have encountered some very unique, sophisticated pieces of craft forms. But over the years of witnessing bamboo crafts, I have realized that there's an overall degeneration in the aesthetic and formal qualities of the crafts. There's too much preoccupation with decoration without much connection to vernacular forms and to embedded cultural values. Over the years of living in a place, we all tend to take certain cultural capital for granted. Through this project, my attempt was to, together with the community and the public, to relook and revisit some of these cultural forms in an inherently new way. I worked on some of these forms using fine strips of cloth and sticky clay. This is an ancient mask-making technique still used in the satras or monasteries on the riverine island of Majuli upstream. My intention was to transform these craft forms into abstractions. These forms, which are usually utilitarian, transparent objects, were transformed into solid, pure forms of geometry, color, line, and space, the basic language of art, blurring the boundaries between crafts and arts. The second stage of cultural reimaginations was a process of slowing down, the slowest journey on the river Brahmaputra. A floating bamboo raft was conceptualized, inspired by the folklore and the sustainable ideas surrounding the vernacular bamboo rafts, or melengs as they're called in local terminology, that are floated down the river. The raft structure also tried to evoke universal vernacular habitats around the world that are mobile and have minimal environmental impacts. Using the raft structure, a collective cultural journey was launched on the river that tried to explore the idea of a journey as performance, and also tried to explore creative approaches with which communities can coexist with the natural environment. The creation of the raft structure involved collaborative work between bamboo artisans, boat builders, rafters, and artists. The idea for bringing on board different groups of people with their own specific knowledge systems was to have them collaborate and to see where boundaries blur between artists and artisans. The project also tried to galvanize a group of people from diverse backgrounds. A loose collective has come out of the project that includes artists, artisans, designers, environmentalists, photographers, filmmakers, movement artists. Again, the idea of bringing on board different groups of people with specific knowledge systems was to create circumstances for unanticipated interdisciplinary convergence. As a piece of public art, the raft was able to establish a censor-free means of contact with the public. It also opened up new ways of experiencing and encountering the environment, creating a sense of community and evoking a sense of place. Publics who engaged with the raft used it in many different ways, as a meeting space, as a gathering space, for impromptu cultural concerts, and as a landmark for creating photographic memories, generating alternative ways of interacting with the river. The collective cultural journey was launched last year in April. During the journey, the bamboo raft became an arena for impromptu cultural exchanges between performers on board, blurring the boundaries between life and art. The collective cultural journey took us from Uzan Bazar Ghat up to the town of Walkusi and back, just by the use of sails and oars. The performances were structured around certain commentaries, critiques, and questions around artistic, cultural, environmental, and social issues, reflecting the interests of the interdisciplinary collective. Around 30 performers from diverse backgrounds came together to create performances that ranged from storytelling to experimental music to informal conversations. In the process, reimagining their relationship with the river, the environment, the raft, and the journey itself. The idea was also for the performers to expand their own practices and find points of intersection with the project and with the artistic practices of the other collaborators on board. The raft, together with the collective cultural journey, sought to become catalysts for triggering a network of ideas and positive transformations. Currently, the raft structure is anchored at the Uzan Bazar Ghat and sets out to launch new artistic, cultural, and environmental initiatives. It also hopes to become a space for collaborative, participatory, public art practice. The third stage, which is the current stage of the project, seeks to launch new collective cultural journeys on the river and to put a structure in place for continuing initiatives. It also hopes to become a platform for hybrid projects focusing on the interface of environment, vernacular crafts, culture, and art. Of particular importance during this stage would be to stimulate exchange between the artisanal and the artistic community, to bring together local artists and artisans into a series of collaborative initiatives. Thoughtful, thought-provoking, imaginative, unconventional initiatives be explored, creating thought-provoking events, experiences, and spaces. This stage of the project would also try to expand beyond the structure of the raft itself into the public realm of the riverfront. Special effort would be made on this stage to bring together local arts, colleges, organizations, and collectives to collaborate with each other in the dynamic space of the river. I would like to continue to reimagine this raft as the itinerant bard of the river, a jajabor, evoking the wanderer in each one of us. For me, sitting on the raft was a meditation on rootedness in this relentlessly changing city. To be seated, relaxed, people watching, interacting with fellow sitters. To inhabit a familiar urban space in a novel way was a simple and profound human experience, but one that was missing in the city's riverfront. I hope that the playful nature of this intervention would open up new possibilities, expanding our ways of reading and understanding the city and the river. In the process, opening up ways to make better places that lead to better lives. Thank you.